is together, everything is bolted in, everything lines up, all of the curves, all the seams are perfect, the grill is in, it is solid, every bit of mounting bracing, bolts, all 800 of them are in, which allows us to finally be able to properly fit this hood on, and the anticipation is finally over. Yes, we are going to cut this thing apart and fix all of these little dents. Every one of these circles that I could just tell by hand is a dent or a ripple or something. So in order for us to fix these things, my plan is, move this over, is to cut this lower brace out, get rid of this, whatever that is and whatever that's for, I'm not sure. Get that all out of the way, cut it out nicely because we'll be putting it back in when we're done, but that gives me an open surface to actually run this thing through the English wheel, and hopefully we can get all of these dips and bends and ripples flattened out and get the back side of the hood to curve like it's supposed to, get it to fit, re-weld that brace back in, put the hinges on, and it's gonna fit perfect. So I don't know why I was even concerned about it, but I'm gonna go ahead and get this thing up on the cart, start drilling those spot welds out and get this thing in pieces, and me and Amy are gonna go have fun with the English wheel. This right here is the arsenal that I'm going to be using for stage one. Cutoff wheel, flap wheel, a hole cutter, drill bit. I'm gonna go around all of these spots where the sandblasting is and hit it with the flap wheel, because that will help me find where all the spot welds are that I need to drill out. So there's a bunch in here, I'm sure. I found just by looking at least 4 just on this flange in this section. There is a lower bracket underneath here. So I'm going to take that part out in 2 parts. There's a spot weld holding that on the top and both sides there. A whole mess of them along here I got to carefully try to get out, and another pile up here. So I'm going to hit all of those areas with the flap wheel so I can find my spot welds, and then I'm just going to remove this bracket. All right, I've got all of those brackets, that cross member, everything pulled out. I'm gonna flatten these little flanges out, grind up and clean this section up so it can go back in. But before I mess around with too much more of that stuff, we are going to run this thing through the wheel. Okay, so we got about an hour in this and some pretty rough shoulders from trying to maneuver this giant thing around. I cannot get that bottom last foot because the side here, come around, this bottom side of the hood hits in the English wheel, so it's just pushing all the metal in the wrong direction. But if you look from the side, I did get most of them out up to that bottom section. So I am going to go through, I've got a couple of circles and spots here. I'm going to try to get up in there with my little handheld hammer here, this little guy, and see if I can massage a few of these spots out and then try to massage this bottom edge along here. domed way higher in the middle there than it was before. But these are all lining up and these edges are lining up. So I'm going to put a couple of tacks in those 4 spots. We're going to set this up on top of the truck and see how far that center is sitting up above, if any. And then I'll go ahead and make the blocks that go in between this brace and the hood. All right, so here's what we got going on here. This is after running it through the English wheel. Got most of the dents out. Looking pretty good along here. I mean, this is sitting, I mean, it's gonna have to come up. So, I mean, once that edge comes up, that's damn near perfect on this side. And then same thing over here. So when you look here, it comes down a little low. So I'm gonna end up reshaping or cutting back and reshaping this corner along here. Yeah, pretty happy. And then when you look at the cowl angle, it still has to come up yet. I was having issues with this back edge, getting it to line up and have the right curve and come down on the edge. And the little 1/4 inch lip that they gave us on the back was just not strong enough to hold anything in place. So I spent a couple hours and bent up this piece of 3/8 round bar that matches the back curve perfectly. Tacked it into place, did a few adjustments on it. And then I came around the edges here and ground this corner so that it matches the cowl perfectly. So now I'm going to come back in, weld up all of these seams, grind them smooth, get this all welded to this bar, and make it all just nice and smooth and pretty. All right, there they are, all welded in, nice and clean. Now I just need to cut those 2 brackets off because he does not want to have those springs in the way. He would much rather either have some type of hood bar when he opens it up or a strut. So we're gonna get rid of those brackets. I'll get the flap wheel out, we'll clean this up and head over here and open them holes up, get this put back on the truck. Got a little bit of work left to do around these headlights. You can see how it kind of bows out right there. This is a really nice rolled 90 till you get about here, and then the stamping just isn't very nice. So this all needs to be rolled in a little better, make it easier to get the grill in and out. You do that on both sides. all cleaned up and as good as it is going to be for body work. There's the lights now. Everything's nice and straight. Got rid of those big bubbles. So that line comes right around nice and smooth, both sides. Nice and straight. Easy to do the body work on, or easier. And the hood is now mounted. Got good gaps all the way around it. Opens and shuts, not on its own, but without me having to carry it across the room, which is a bonus. So it is now time for me to jump onto this door. So in case you were wondering, since we were able to clean this up so nice, why we're not using the rest of the door, and I kind of skipped over this a little bit in the other video, but you put the straight edge across it, and you can see how nicely that meets up all the way across there. I mean, it is really decent. So now we're gonna slowly slide it down. Still good, right? And right about where I stopped cleaning everything. Look at the daylight, you can see. That's how big that dent is. All the way down. So the only way to fix that would be to cut this off, try to run it through the English wheel, straighten it out. Still wouldn't get it perfect, and then you're putting a crappy piece of metal back on. So that's why we're replacing it. Alright, these are all fitted, ground, and smooth. Like I said, we got a good gap around everything. So it's time to move on to these door latches. Now, these were already fitted once by the owner of the truck. So I should be able to just get the latches bolted back up in place. There was an old little triangle section in here from the old latch that needed to be welded up, so we got that out of there. And then these two holes up here is where the interior side of the bearclaw latch will attach to. So come over here. We do have the directions and all of the pieces and parts. So I'm gonna go over there, start screwing these things together, make sure everything fits correctly, that we don't have any issues there, and see if there's anything I can improve as far as attachment, if we want to weld this stuff in place or not, how exactly we want to do that to clean this up a little. Alright, doors are done, the bearclaw latches are in. I added a heavier spring onto this handle just so it feels nice and solid. It just feels like a new car. Opens and shuts beautifully. I fixed this little gap issue here where it was tight, ground it down, re-welded it up, got it sealed up, and then came across the top here. We straightened out the drip edge best we could, and then added about 3/16 of an inch of material along the top of this door to close that gap up. And then also about 1/8 of an inch here in this last 4 inches to close the gap up between the door and the towel. So this thing is done. We did the same thing to the driver door. They are ready to go. You've already seen us work on the hood. This is all aligned. We got the gaps where we want them. So we're gonna throw the latches and everything in there, make sure we've got all the parts and pieces for that, and that it's going to latch and open and there isn't any issues there. It's not gonna mess with our alignment or anything. Because the next step is to add our spoiler on here, and this isn't going to be some welded on freaking deal all smoothed out and just ridiculous. It's actually going to look like a removable piece. It'll follow this body line here along the side of the hood, bolt into the original trim spots here so he can remove it and have his original trim on here if he wants to, or he can have these spoilers on here and really make the truck aggressive. All right, we got that latching. There's a couple little horseshoe shaped pieces of trim that go on each side there that we do have in the other room, but I'm just not gonna put them on right now. They're super simple. Plop in those 3 holes, put the nuts on the back. But yeah, she is doing the job. Pull the lever, she pops open. No working problem. So let's start working on the scoops since I don't have anything else to fill that radiator cavity with yet. Here is my rough plan for the scoop. This will be the passenger side one. I will have to repeat it on the driver's side, but first I want to make sure that this is going to work. We're going to mimic the vent that's already here. It's kind of a vent, kind of a grab handle for, you know, opening the trunk or whatever, but that little trim, horseshoe trim piece we're going to mimic on each side, but further back. And then where the ridge line is here for the old trim, that's where we're going to have this vent protrude from, and then it will come out about 6 inches in the front and taper to about a 1/2 inch or 3/4 inch little slot towards the back. So that should widen the hood out a bit, kind of make this a little bit meaner in the front. It'll kind of help balance out the headlights and everything. The owner is toying with putting some, not really louvers, but some vents on the top area up in here, but they won't be raised vents or anything. They'll actually pull the air down in, so they'll be more like a reverse kind of louver setup. Trying to pull in some newer style Mustang Qs into this thing, from what I understand when we're talking. So I'm trying to mix those two together. But yeah, so that will be that vent there. This drown dome area that I've got set up will get hammered out, and that should be this peak here. And then the rest of this whole area along here will just be curved. And then I mimicked the curve of the hood here along the bottom because we're going to do a flange on the bottom there, and then we will be doing an upper flange on top. So this will be a removable piece. It will bolt on, and then I would like to have it lay flat right across the top of the fender here, so it just looks like an extension of the hood. So I'm going to cut out what I've got mapped out here, and I've got a game plan in my head. I guess we'll just see how it works. Okay, very rough interpretation of what we want this to look like. There will be a matching nostril, for lack of a better word, inset into that thing, but I have overworked this piece to the point where it is just not ever going to be usable, but it did give me a good idea and a couple of good game plans, and let me know what my limitations are. Like, this is not going to be something we make in one piece. Okay, this is take 2 on the nostril. I haven't done the front piece yet, but this is the idea. Coming down along the side, gonna follow that body line. I got a few waves and dings and stuff to work out of it. Probably shouldn't have made it out of 18 gauge, but at the same time, once I get it in shape, this thing will stay in shape forever. So it allows me to beat on it a little bit more. It's a little bit harder to get the crisp edges and stuff that I want for where it bolts on, but I think it'll be well worth it when it's all said and done. So let's go ahead and start working on getting the nostril shape in the front. I've already got it kind of curved over where it's going to start to come around. So we'll get that in, get that welded in, and the bottom flange in. And then that's about as far as I'm going to go till the owner sees it. After he sees it, if we're going to pull the trigger on it and keep going, I'm going to make a plate that goes up underneath the flange of the hood and comes out to this flange on here. And it'll basically just be a bottom like frame to connect this to the hood and make it good and solid. So there'll be a bottom plate that kind of rests along everything. And I'm gonna try, or not gonna try, I am going to keep a nice 1/4 inch gap underneath this thing. And we'll probably put a little bumper or something over in the corner, front and back, so that it doesn't disturb the paint once everything's done. But yeah, let's go ahead and get the nostril opening done in the front and see what this thing looks like. Alright, so I spent a little bit of time and got this flange bent over. It comes back about 45 degrees here so that this can come back at an angle. It doesn't stick straight out from the hood there. And then this also is probably maybe 15, because it does tilt back a hair. And then I made a reference line right through here with a Sharpie. That's where my bend is going to start. So I'm going to probably first deal with this little flange here. I think what I'm going to do is actually just cut the flange off where it comes back, just get it out of the way so I can get a nice curve in there. And later on, once I get this all curved, I can go back in and make a little fillet, like gusset or something for the back of that. But yeah, otherwise, that slams right in there. Still want that edge right here where it rolls over, because otherwise, yeah, that just won't look right. So I'm going to keep that edge there. I'm going to do the same thing down here. Keep that edge. All right, start rolling that mess. Perfect. So I got this clamped together. I was originally going to cut this piece and mold this one in, but just the way everything seems to be fitting, I think it's going to be better to do the inside. So I marked this and I actually cut that to fit this piece here. Smooth it out, get the nostril cut out of it, set it in place, do a little fine tuning, finishing on it, and set it on, see what the owner thinks. Then we can make another one. Should go faster. All right, so here she is. I've got the vent all shaped. Just fits like a glove. Follows that body line, the original body line on the front of the hood. Not sure what we're going to do at the back side yet, if I'm just going to fold it over, put a screen in it, but we'll talk about that more with the customer. If he likes it and it's everything he had hoped for, then we will mirror this and do it again on the driver's side. God, it looks cool.
Come on, push it, you can do it, come on! Push the damn button, come on, push it, push it, push it, push it, push it, push!